Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another great edition of The Hit. You know who I am, you know who he is, but just in case you don't, I am Logan Graffia. He is Calvin Rons, and we're going to get right into it. The Super Bowl literally just finished up at the time that we're recording this. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Eagles in a comeback victory, Calvin. The Eagles controlled the whole first half, and all second half was all Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Calvin, what do you make of all this? Because I mean, it looked like the Eagles had the game in the bag. I mean, just give me your thoughts.
So if somebody asked me, because me and you both get a lot of people asking us, what y'all think about the game? I'll tell them, hey, honestly, I'm going for the refs. Whoever the refs are going for, that's what I'm going for. And you've seen it with that very, to me, which wasn't a holding call at all, that won the game for Patrick Mahomes. Basically, I mean, potentially. I mean, you could have seen the Eagles go down, score in like what, a minute, but that sealed the game basically. Um, but in all seriousness, I would say that the Eagles have not faced a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes all season, and they have had pretty cupcake season and some pretty cupcake quarterbacks to play in the playoffs. And I thought that the Chiefs' offense was going to expose them. Uh, their D line is fantastic, but I worried about their DBs and their linebacking core, and that was proven. So it was an excellent game, though. I mean, 38-35, a lot of scoring. That's what I love to see because a lot of these playoff games have been these low scoring barn burners, just terrible, or they've just been blowouts. And I think this was a really, really, really good Super Bowl. Commercials were great. Um, and shout out to Patrick Mahomes and them. But Eagles got exposed defensively, as I mean, some people thought they would. Um, but man, it was a great game. Whole lot of scoring. Both of these offensive coaches were coaching their tail off. Good lord, this is some of the best looking offenses I've seen all season. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm just sitting here in awe, and I'm sitting here jealous too because I got to deal with Pete Carmichael. But yeah, that's what I got, man.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you because I mean, you look at Shane Steichen, he looks like he's on his way to the Indianapolis Colts. He's the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. I mean, him and Sirianni, they had what looked like to be a great game plan. I mean, just put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. He had three rushing touchdowns. That that tied the most since I think Terrell Davis, if I'm not mistaken, years ago. But you got to tip your hat off to the Kansas City Chiefs for adjusting at the half. I mean, Andy Reid keeps crediting Eric Bieniemy. Don't know why he's not a head coach, but Andy Reid could be riding off into the sunset. He didn't announce it yet, but it's a very good possibility. Andy Reid retires, Eric Bieniemy gets promoted to head coach, and maybe that was the plan all along. We don't know. But all in all, I agree with all your points. I think this was a really good offensive showcase throughout the Super Bowl. I mean, the commercials were really great. The halftime show was good, even though half the time Rihanna was lip syncing, you could tell. But I enjoyed it. I'd say it was a really good Super Bowl. I mean, I wouldn't put it like, one of the greatest of all time, like Super Bowls, but I think it was a pretty good one.
Hey man, Super Bowl 44 is the best Super Bowl there ever was. All right,
At least for us.
at least
I
for
mean,
us.
I mean, for us at least. But speaking of Super Bowl 44 for us, let's talk about us for a brief moment. Derek Carr decided not to waive his no trade clause, Calvin, and he said he's not waiving it for the Saints or any team. I honestly think that he's going to be released. We all kind of saw this coming. We knew my thinking on this is just his way of giving the Raiders a giant middle finger on his way out. Because if you think about it, he don't want to give the Raiders no compensation. He's not doing them no favors at all. So like I said, this is like a giant middle finger to the Raiders on the way out. Like, nope, I ain't helping y'all out. Bye bye. So after he's released, it looks like the Saints are going to be the front runner still, and I wouldn't be surprised because I mean, Derek Carr and the Saints staffers and front office met twice. Twice. I mean, they don't just do that for no reason. I mean, Deshaun only met with us once, but we all knew he wasn't coming here. But with this is different. I truly believe maybe, they worked out a deal behind closed doors. Okay, you get cut. We're going to sign you right away, and here's the deal. And maybe there's like, a handshake type of agreement, not pen to paper yet type of deal. So my question to you is, do you think that is what's going on here? And what is just your overall thinking?
I was actually going to say all of that you said. Yeah, I fully agree. I think this may be a classic Mickey Loomis masterclass where he used the trade talks as leverage just for him to get face to face with Derek Carr to say, "Hey, look, we're not going to trade for you. All right. We know a lot of these teams probably aren't either. And we also know how you feel about the Raiders. You don't want to help them out. We don't care to help them out. We don't care to spend draft assets at all. That third round pick that they were asking for would be very useful for us in this draft. You can find some really great talent in the third round. Alvin Kamara was third round. Just for example, Cooper Kupp was third round. So, you can always find great talent. Um, so I definitely believe that this was the whole plan, right? And him coming back the next day definitely told me, all right, they probably agreed at dinner the night before, like, hey, yeah, I want to come in and we're gonna hash out some contract deals when I come in tomorrow. Came in the next day, they started hashing out contract negotiations. They probably got a little contract done. It's already probably sitting on the table, ready for him to just come and sign it. It's already freshly printed and everything. Uh, Hopefully you don't see all these other teams come out of the woodworks and kind of scoop him up because at the end of the day he is going to go who's paying him the most, and we may not be able to do that. But something that you guys should look out for is the Lamar Jackson situation. The reports came out today that Lamar Jackson could potentially be shot for a bunch of picks. Now I don't know if that's just a bunch of malarkey, but I mean if that's the case, I have a question for you. Do you spend the farm to get Lamar Jackson if he's there, if he's even up for grabs?
Well, to answer your question, you can always try, but I know the asking price, what the asking price is going to be for Lamar Jackson. It's going to be almost kind of like a Ricky Williams trade. And I don't know if I'm willing to do a Ricky Williams trade for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a former MVP, and he's almost like another reincarnated version of Michael Vick, just right-handed. But I don't know if you do that. I mean, I love Lamar to death. I'm still kicking over the fact that we didn't trade up for him that draft, that we traded for Marcus Davenport. But
We didn't even need to trade up for him. Where our pick would have originally been, we could have got him. He got
we
picked
could have
30.
got we could have gotten him, but
We had like what, 29, 28?
something like that. I think it was 28. But to answer your question, I wouldn't trade the farm because this draft is deep at a lot of positions: D line, receiver, running back, and even quarterback. If you want to have one just in the waiting wings, but I would say, nah, I'm not going to trade the farm for him. Even though I can't believe I'm saying no, don't trade for Lamar. But it would take a Ricky Williams deal to get him, in my opinion.
Hey, if we're gonna go out and throw a bunch of 2028 picks, I mean, I say why not? I mean, who cares? Do like the Rams. The Rams mortgaged their entire future and they got a ring. So I mean, can you say mission successful? I think you can. Now, whether what happens next, that's up to them. But it's opportunity cost.
Well, I think in the end, I really do believe that their car is going to be QB1. Now, who's going to be QB2? That's to be determined. Maybe you still draft one, maybe like in the third round, like a Hendon Hooker. You can only hope, but we shall see. Which now we got to move on to our next topic. Calvin, is the New Orleans Pelicans. It's an iffy topic at the moment, but let's get to the trade deadline I just passed first. We finally got rid of Devontae Graham, like you actually wanted to, Calvin. We traded for Josh Richardson, a nice tall wing that can defend and also shoot the three. He doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but when he does, he's very successful at it. He's very good at it. He shoots over 36% from the three. Same as OG Ananobi that we was trying to get, but they wanted the farm for him. What do you think about this deal, Calvin? Who do you think won this trade?
Well, considering Devontae Graham just put up 31 in his first game as the Spurs, That's you could technically say they won right now. We didn't get 31 points yet, but he'll come down to earth eventually. We've seen this from Devontae, but I like the trade for us. Josh is on the expiring contract, but I'm hearing reports that we do want to re-sign him. So I mean, if he's gonna come back on a nice little friendly deal, I don't mind it. Like I'm hoping this could be a Larry Nance situation where he's a guy that comes in, nobody's really looking for him, but we do know he is good. He's actually shooting, I believe, 44% when it comes to open threes. Now, when you have Zion, Bi, and CJ on the court all at one time, and let's say you have Trey and him out there if you want to run a super, super, super small ball lineup, that's a lot of opportunities for some wide open threes because Zion he's gonna have at least 3, 4 guys gravitate on him. I like it. I said we needed shooting and rim protecting. I'm really disappointed by the fact that we didn't go get some rim protecting and we were just still stuck with Jackson Hayes. But that just goes to show you that a lot of these teams are just asking for too much. And the fact that even Mikal Bridges didn't get moved for 4 first-round picks, the Grizzlies offered them that. Surprised it's not us. Just goes to show you, man, that the trade deadline is a little weird. The Lakers got a whole bunch of people for a whole lot of nothing, and we're sitting here trying to get nickeled and dimed by the Raptors and the Nets when it comes to their players. So that's very disappointing that the league's helping out the Lakers like that and not small ball teams, small market teams. But I think Josh would be great if he just continues to shoot like he's been shooting. I'll take 36, 37, 38%. We need it, but watching the Cavs game has me very concerned because that is a team that's a matchup nightmare with rim protecting. Jonas just cannot do anything against athletic bigs like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And it's also disappointing because Jackson Hayes was supposed to be like an Evan Mobley, an athletic guy who can rebound and shot block. But he got in the game in garbage time and decided to do a behind-the-back Jamal Crawford layup and just absolutely smoked it. So that's what we got. But it was a good trade. Disappointing trade deadline for us, but it was a good trade.
Well, I mean, it seems from what I was told, the Pelicans really, really tried to get OG Anunoby, but apparently they either went at Trey or Dyson, and David Griffin declined, which I'm not too disappointed about. You can revisit the OG talks in the offseason because I think OG is probably going to be a free agent if I'm not mistaken. But I do like the Josh Richardson trade. But speaking on the aftermath of the Cavs game, what is your feeling? I mean, we have 2 more games before All-Star break. You have the Thunder, you have the Lakers, the game before All-Star break. What is your feeling about this team going into All-Star break?
Brandon Ingram is going to have his All-Star season again. We need him. He's been doing pretty good. I think he wasn't aggressive enough in the Cavs game, but the Cavs were playing some excellent defense. I mean, that was some crazy defense I was seeing from Isaac Okoro, just locking down everybody. I need CJ to step it up. I know he's probably exhausted and all that, but I think CJ scored like 12, 13 points. I need more than that from him. Jonas had an absolutely abysmal game. Didn't even come close to getting his double-double like he usually does. I'm getting a little concerned about Jonas. That's probably my biggest thing because Jax came in and he did make some electrifying plays, but then he just got too excited and just started doing whatever the hell he wanted out there, and that's just not okay. If you can't play Willie, because I feel like Willie deserved to have some minutes in this game. I mean, if you feel like you can't play Willie, like I said, I just feel like you kind of wasted this trade deadline. You just got 2 guys at the center position, which we really need right now. Yeah, that can't play. I mean, you're just wasting roster spots at that point. And I hope maybe we can get somebody good in the buyout market. But I would say the Thunder is a very winnable game. The Lakers and this new team, I don't know how that's going to gel. You might be able to catch them. LeBron's targeting a comeback against us, which it's whatever. It happens every time. Every time. I feel like you can still
Never
beat the
fails.
Lakers. Never fails. I feel like you can still beat the Lakers though. So just go and get these last 2 games and just rest, get healthy. Dyson should be back, and Zion, man, just get well, Zion, bro, please.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought. I'm glad you brought up Zion. That's the next topic. But going in All-Star break, I mean, I still am not all the way negative like a lot of fans are. I mean, I know Zion's setback has a lot of people in the doom and gloom, but I'm not there just yet. I'm not hitting the panic button yet because I really believe that, come March when Zion actually comes back, he gets to play with CJ, BI, Jonas, Herb, all these guys. I think you're going to finally see this team roll on all four tires, in a manner of speaking. But with Zion's setback, I mean, he was ramping up to 3-on-3. He was probably going to play after the All-Star break. That was looking like he was going to return the game right after All-Star break. And then, of course, you know, with these hamstrings, you can't be too careful. You got to kind of be overly cautious with these things because you, I mean, these things are tough to dictate. They really are. And a lot of players have come back from them in the middle of a season. Like, CP did it not too long ago. Booker did it not too long ago. And I mean, hell, you want to look at football. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore was dealing with a hamstring strain as well, and he came back rather quickly. But with Zion, I mean, he's a big man. He's big in stature. So I mean, with that, you can't be too careful. And I mean, I know I saw your tweet where you said, "No, just say he's out for the season." I'm going to disagree. I don't think he's out for the season, Calvin. I really truly believe there's a few weeks left in the month of February. I mean, there's only 28 days, and at the time we're recording, it's February 12th. You still have a couple weeks left of February. The first week of March, he should be back. That's fine with me because March and April, that's where you gotta make sure you gel and you roll because after April, that's the playoffs. That's when it matters. I mean, if everybody's healthy come playoff time, I think we're gonna be a scary team, Calvin.
Well, here's the thing, right? Of why I said he'll be out for the season. Me and Rel, we talk about it all the time. I always mention that when this team says we will reevaluate you in 2 weeks, you might as well chalk it up to we'll come back to you in about a month or 2 months. That's when you're coming back because this is the least transparent team ever. New Orleans sports has always been like that. They've always been very non-transparent with you. I mean, you got Marshawn Lattimore who seemed like his kidney fell out of his, what, but whatever. And they said it was supposed to be a little bruise and his kidneys lacerated, whatever. So if you really want to think about it, right? We have 25, 26 games left, something like that. When's the All-Star break? Like February 19th is the game, 17th, something like that.
Think it's next week.
So yeah, that would be like 19, like 17 to 19, something like that. So okay, that's next week. The thing that scares me though is the fact they said he'll be out multiple weeks the uh after the All-Star weekend. So let's push 2 weeks. Let's say 2 weeks just to be safe. So you push him 2 weeks back after the All-Star. So that's first week of March. Now you got to progress him, and they said originally he was going to be out 3 weeks. It's going on 6, and he was only on 3v3, and he re-injured himself going 3v3. That is what worries me because what's to say it's not going to happen again? And a fun statistic: this isn't necessarily a Zion thing. Hamstring injuries in the NBA, there's an 81% chance of re-aggravating the injury. And that, unfortunately, we did not get that very lucky 20%. So, that's why I say he's out for the season because he takes a long time to ramp up, and he's already re-injured himself on 3v3, and they're probably going to be even more cautious now. So, it might be March 5th, 6th, 7th. They revive him and then say, all right, now we're going to ramp him up. It's going to take another 2 weeks. So we'll probably have 15, maybe close to 10 games left at that point. I mean, depending on where you are, see what you can do. I just say as long as the team can get to the 6th seed, we're fine. And just be healthy for the playoffs, and we can run it. We'll be fine.
Well, I mean, if we get to a 60, that's not playing. As long as we're not in the play-in, I'll be very happy. I mean, I still think going forward, if Brandon Ingram and CJ and even Jonas if everybody could get on the same page and not do what they did against the Cavs, I don't want to make excuses. I mean, I'm not going to say it was the late start, but I mean, it just looked like they just wasn't in it for the first 3 quarters. But the Zion setback is disappointing, but we dealt with this before. I expect him to be back in March for the foreseeable future, and when he's back, we can all, have a good laugh at the Lakers fans' expense because you know how they are always on our mentions, Calvin. I mean, laughing, oh, y'all should have drafted Ja. You should have did this. Oh, Zion's fat. He's a bust. Da 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 da. He's Greg Oden. Can't wait for him to come back and destroy teams again, and then everyone that was saying all that negative stuff about him can go hide back in their little cubby holes.
Well, I mean, they're just upset because Anthony Davis did not get that starting night. He didn't even get voted into the All-Star game, and Zion is a starter, so they're
He
mad about
was.
that. And as a matter of fact, Anthony Davis had his big chance to shine against the Warriors, puts up 13 points. Absolutely amazing masterclass from Anthony Davis. There are 13 points when LeBron's not even playing. Fantastic. Sure, he got like 15, 16 rebounds. That's cool. He's like the only big on that team left. Uh, so power to him. The way he's going against Kayvon Looney and he couldn't get more than 13 points. I mean, I ain't worried about that dude, man. Empty calorie stats.
Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about a team that's gonna be in the play-in. If that, they probably won't even make that. But that is all I have for us today, Calvin. Do you have anything else that we did not discuss that you would just like to get out rather quickly?
Nah, I'm good. Hope Devontae Graham enjoys life. Shout out to Josh Hart being a Knick. He finally became a Knick. They had all the Knick rumors, and he's finally there. So shout out to him.
Shout out to him. Well, I have nothing else to say, Calvin. So I guess with that being said, this was a fantastic show. Be sure to watch all our other episodes on YouTube, on the channel. And don't forget to share this episode when you see it. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, group me, anything, anywhere you can share it at would be very welcomed. So with that being said, I am Logan Graffia. He is Calvin Rhines. We shall see you guys next time.